Hello and welcome to the India Sports News YouTube channel. India has won the second Test match and have taken an unassailable 2-0 lead in the Border Gavaskar Trophy. They can't lose the Border Gavaskar Trophy. No, it's the fourth consecutive time that India is going to hold on to the Border Gavaskar Trophy. I have with me a beaming former India cricketer and a Border Gavaskar Trophy winner himself, Mr. Nilesh Kulkarni. Nilesh, what a turnaround! What a test match! We missed the first 2 days because we were hoping for some kind of a dramatic turn, but even both of us couldn't have predicted what happened today. Nilesh, you need to unmute yourself.
Thank you for having me on India Sports News. And unfortunately, I was traveling overseas for last 2 days, and I did not realize that the match would finish in 2.5 days again. That was quite a surprise. And the way India turned it around, especially after the first innings by both the teams, I was expecting that the match will go for the fourth day, but the way Australia got folded again, I think the way Australian team is making a noise now. These Indian pitches are slow and low, but they are not dangerous. They are not even concerningly dangerous. And the way they started focusing more on the non-cricketing issues, I think it's about time that Cricket Australia and their entire PR machinery should focus on making sure that their players get ready for the series like India. Because when India tours Australia, they make the pitches supporting and conducing to their advantage. And India has not done that, but I think Australia has not been able to handle those things and adapt to the situations which are offered.
Nilesh, this morning when play started, everybody was stunned by what happened yesterday in the sense that India got bowled out with one run short, and the way Travis had started in the second innings, everyone was looking at a 300 plus target for India. What do you think happened on day three that the tables turned so quickly?
It's just that application. I think the way they approached the game second half yesterday, last session, was good to see. The intent was good by Travis Head and Manas Labuschagne. But one of the areas where they could not continue with that approach, I think if you see the dismissals, on a slow and a low wicket of Delhi, going for a sweep shot is not acceptable even in the first class cricket. So to see that kind of an approach and an attitude to go against that low bounce, I think is something where the strategically the team management have not been able to give the right inputs, or the players have not been able to approach the game in the right manner, assessing the conditions which are on offer. I think that's one of the key areas for me, in terms of how, I think 4 to 5 wickets have gone going for a sweep or a reverse sweep. It is not acceptable at international cricket, and that too being a number one test team right now in the ranking.
And in terms of how Jadeja and Ashwin bowled, yet again together, they just spun a web around the Aussies, and the Aussies just didn't seem to have a clue. Okay, they found a replica for Ashwin, but I think the 10 days gap, no, 12 days gap now, they need to look for a replica for Jadeja as well.
Well, you can't. That's why Ashwin and Jadeja duo are so lethal on Indian soil. They together have put together, scripted so many wins for India single-handedly. I think that's a phenomenal track record. And I think the way Jadeja has come back after the injury, he did not look off the block. He did not look off the scene. He looked that he is more hungrier than what he was. So I think it's a phenomenal. That 10 wicket in this match for Jadeja is a testimony of the kind of effort he has put in during his rehab and the recovery post his surgery. But
Yep.
Ashwin and Jadeja as a duo, I mean, hands down to the way. My only concern now is what will happen to India post Ashwin and Jadeja era.
And you had also had Akshar Patel with the bat. He did well once again, but the captain just didn't have to use him in the second innings. And also
Well,
Mohammad Siraj.
absolutely. But the depth into Indian lower order itself proves that India bats deep till number 9. And that's a great sign on Indian soil. Given any situation where it might just slightly drift away with couple of wickets back to back, you still have Jadeja, you still have Ashwin, you still have Akshar Patel to support you. I think that's a great sign for Indian cricket, especially in Indian soil. Obviously, when you tour overseas on a seaming condition, you will require a medium pacer who's supporting this. But on Indian soil, there's no replacement for these three right now.
What does it say about India's depth as a cricket nation that when we are playing in Australia or England, we employ the fast bowlers. When we are playing in India, we employ the spinners. And when we are playing the spinners in India, we don't necessarily need to use any of our fast bowlers. India has not missed Bumrah. India has not really needed Siraj. India has not really needed Umesh Yadav. Shami made his presence felt in the first innings. What does it say about India's cricketing depth?
I think you got to give credit to BCCI. You got to give credit to Rahul Dravid and then Ravi Shastri as a head coach in those times where the focus on NCA, the emphasis on giving more opportunities to these youngsters, more opportunities for them now to feel that they belong there. Give them more exposures. The India A tours overseas. Before the series, the India has always stood. So that's the kind of bench strength they've created. And I think creating 100 plus bench strength under 19 India A and Test cricket together is a great statement. I think, and on top of it, then you've not seen likes of Sarfaraz Khan who are part of these, or this left arm spinner, Sai Kishore, all these guys who are doing exceedingly well in domestic
Saurabh
cricket.
Kumar.
You are yet to, Saurabh Kumar, all these guys who are performing exceedingly well, yet to see the opportunity. That's the kind of depth and the ecosystem India has created. Compliments to BCCI, the way they have actually turned it around. The world now will take a notice of the model what BCCI adopted to create the bench strength and make sure that in spite of the regular players missing the ranks, you still have the backup who are equally good. And replacement is not just a mere replacement, but they all belong there. So that's a great statement to have. That's a great ecosystem to create in this kind of an environment.
Uh, Tell me something about Jadeja, especially as a left arm spinner yourself. What is it about him that makes him so successful?
I think the way Jadeja is a very conventional left arm spinner. His ability to bowl six ball on the spot again and again, over after over, spell after spell, makes him a standout performer in terms of, there is always a good saying in cricket, if you stuck to your basics, half the battle is won. Jadeja always stuck to his basics. Jadeja never deviates with more flight as an experiment, more deviation. So he's always there and thereabout. He's asking questions whether the wicket is spinning, the wicket is flat. He's always there and thereabout. But more importantly, what Jadeja offers is a great flexibility to team management. You know what he offers? He can actually bat at number five for India as a left-hander, when India does not have in top four or five, we don't have a left-hander. He can give you that flexibility, and that's the great cushion Indian team think tank has. Along with obviously, the entire world knows about his fielding ability. So he's truly that special player who, on a given day, he'll probably bring a brilliant catch, a run out, even if he's not got a two wicket for him. He will make sure those two wickets turn the game around in the India's favor. I think that's a special talent to have into Rohit Sharma's squad.
So the second test match is done. Australia have nowhere to go. They can't win the series. There was a 10-day gap. Now it's become a 12-day gap because this test match was also wrapped up in 2.5 days. What does Australia do from here to come back in the series?
Well, the only way for them is they've actually hit the rock bottom. The only way for them, if the team management thinks well, is the way up. And how they look at it is something their team management has a lot to do in terms of thinking about the strategic part. If they have a almost 2 week gap to prepare themselves, I think they just need to introspect. The good part was they introduced a left arm spinner, which actually paid good dividend for them in this particular test match. But it wasn't good enough because their batters did not give enough cushion to their bowlers to come hard at Indians. I think one of the areas what Australia needs to do is their batting. Their batters need to stand up. Their batters need to start taking the responsibility and accountability. because at least two or three players have actually had visited India, and it's not easy. But even with the Indian team, they need to still think about a couple of changes. They need to think hard on all these things as well.
What changes would you recommend to the Indian team? A lot of talk
Well,
about Rahul. I
of
don't see
course, I
any
think
change in
he
the bowling
just
attack. What about Rahul?
I think he just needs to be. See, he's struggling. We all know he's struggling. His average is more than 25 in the last 10, 12, 15 innings. It's not right for a test match average, and it's not right on the player like Shubman Gill to be left out. In the past, India have dropped vice captains and replaced them if they were not performing, be it Ajinkya Rahane or anybody else in the recent past. So why are we not thinking on these lines? It's important, it's imperative. Those who are performing well, they need to be given more chances. KL Rahul has had long rope as as an opener, as a middle order. I think it's not right. It's not right for the others who are performing exceedingly well. They deserve that chance, and I think it's important that the management do take that call, and we get to see Shubman Gill playing the next Test match.
So overall, in the squad per se, you wouldn't make any changes.
No, I think see Shreyas Iyer, he had 100 in Bangladesh, so you can't replace him in this in a short notice. That's absolutely fine. Pujara is a veteran. One more part which I would like to highlight is congratulations to Cheteshwar Pujara. He's the 12th Indian in the history of cricket to have played 100 Test matches. It's a phenomenal feat for any cricketer who aspires to play for the country. To see him go on to play and play 100 Test match is a great achievement. But I don't see any other changes because you need to give that long rope. They have performed well. One or two Test matches I can still understand. But in case of KL Rahul, it's been very repetitive. So that's where I strongly feel Shubman Gill deserves a chance in playing 11.
Any change in the reserves, say Umesh Yadav or Kuldeep Yadav, they're all on the reserves. Ishan Kishan. No one really can get into the 11 now.
I think Bharat has also done a reasonably well job when it comes to keeping and batting. There's no reason for you to replace and change for the sake of it. I think it's a matter of time. Even Ishan Kishan needs to start respecting, earning that space by beating them, at least in the red ball cricket. He's already there in the white ball cricket, but red ball cricket is a different ball game. So it's about time we get to see them giving a long rope. It's good to see them play 5, 10 test matches and do well. As a player, you always feel comfortable when you play 5, 7 test matches. You feel comfortable, you belong there. And that's the confidence you take into the next test match.
Jaydev Unadkat, who was part of the squad, was released to play the final of the Ranji Trophy. He has won the Ranji Trophy, led from the front. He will come back in straight away, but he'll be on the reserve bench.
Which is fine. But one word on the Saurashtra as a unit, in last 5 to 7 years, a lot of people are not giving due credit to Sitanshu Kotak, who actually built his team, who made sure, who actually groomed the youngsters, and they are performing well now. They are there to see that kind of a result. It's a good sign to see the way Saurashtra back their players, the way Saurashtra, in spite of Ravindra Jadeja and Cheteshwar Pujara not playing in this unit for quite some time, end up winning or being into the knockouts consistently is a great sign for Indian cricket also, and compliments to the entire unit. Niranjan Bhai, Jaydev, who's in the helm of the administration now. They're doing a wonderful job grooming the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, sorry, Odar, Nilesh, there's a problem with the internet. So, no, you were talking about Saurashtra and Sitanshu Kotak.
Yeah, so I think the way Sitanshu Kotak has built his team with the youngsters, they've groomed them actually and made them believe that they can also win a Ranji Trophy is a great sign for Indian domestic cricket also. And look at their performance. They are still missing Cheteshwar Pujara and Ravindra Jadeja into their lineup. Yet they end up being into invariably knockouts or in the finals, which is a great sign. Kudos and credit to Niranjan Bhai and his team, Jaidev Shah, who's now in the helm of the administration, along with the entire unit. I think it's a great sign for Indian cricket, the way they have built their ecosystem, made the youngsters believe, people like standard performers like Jaydev Unadkat, Vasavda, who actually played phenomenal innings under pressure in difficult situations. These are great signs for them. And Sakaria, they started taking up responsibilities when Jaydev Unadkat was missing. So it's a great sign for a good domestic sign who never bothers to be dependent on a particular player. Saurashtra has proved that in last 3 to 5 years of their domestic existence.
Thanks a lot, Dinesh. But more importantly, while Saurashtra was winning, two Saurashtra boys played a part for India in the Test match as well, Jadeja and Pujara.
Absolutely,
And both were
absolutely.
unaware that their side has won.
Yeah, but like I said before, Pujara for his 100 Test match, but Ravindra Jadeja in this comeback tour have done an outstanding job, and I think not given an inch to Australian team in these situations is a great sign. And I've actually it was so good to see the way Indian team approach this series is phenomenal. Akshar Patel, bringing up that 72 under pressure, getting as close as possible into the first inning. And then today morning, it was just a cakewalk for the way Australian team got folded. I'm actually disappointed to see that kind of an approach, which is not used to seeing. And I only worry and foresee what will happen after David Warner and Steve Smith to Cricket Australia.
Nilesh, thanks a lot for your time. We hope to catch you in the lead up to the third Test match at Indore, where we hope India will seal the series and Border Gavaskar Trophy does not leave the Mumbai office of the BCCI at least for another 2 3 years.
Absolutely. And I said 3
Good to be
nil,
back here.
but I said 3 nil as a prediction when we had a first before the first test match. Now I'm
Yeah.
tempted to see what happens in the fourth test match as well.
Thanks a lot, Nilesh. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Chandresh. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And you all, please keep subscribing to India Sports News, the YouTube channel. Press the like, share, and subscribe button. And don't forget to press the notification bell. And also like, share, subscribe, and follow all our social media platforms, which is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next time, goodbye, God bless.